Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now with stories trending around the world is Vimbai Mutinhiri Ekuyong. Hello, Vimbai.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning. Rufi Fire. It's a brand new week. Yes, it's a new week. And January is almost over, finally.
The shortest, no, but this January has actually been quite short.
That's what people with money have been saying.
Every year is always short. Before you know it, we're enjoying.
I like that.
Yes, exactly.
That's what people with money.
Yes, so your money stretched to the end of January. You said that was a quick month, but no, it's because we're preparing for the month of love.
January shorts. You went on holiday.
Yes, now
out there. This is stress.
I knew you bring that one.
How would you not say it's short?
Exactly.
They beat Arsenal, you know.
Oh my goodness. Let's get straight into what's trending for today, where of course we know that Kano State was a hub of political activity this weekend. This is as reactions trailed the resignation of Governor Abba Yusuf from the New Nigeria People's Party. National leader of the NNPP, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, declared January 23rd as the day of betrayal and received thousands of supporters at his home on Sunday, in a show of solidarity. Kwankwaso shared details of the visit in a post on his official Facebook page. He said the supporters were from Nasarawa local government area of Kano State. Now, the former governor thanked them for standing by him during what he described as a difficult time. According to him, the visit was a show of loyalty and courage. And of course, this also comes as Commissioner for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Yusuf Ibrahim Kofarmata, resigned from his role as commissioner, citing what he described as a departure of the present administration from the political ideology that brought it to power. While addressing his followers, Kwankwaso declared that the state is about to move from light to darkness.
Amma yanzu za a koma gurin da sai dai a sinke hajiya dal. A jihar Kano za ku ga tsari daga haske an koma.
All right, well, he did speak in English in another video where he did say that the state is moving from light to darkness. Well, meanwhile, Governor Abba Yusuf distributed 600 motorcycles to social media influencers and content creators in the 44 local government areas of the state on Saturday. Now, this is a lead up to his scheduled movement to the ruling APC today. Whilst distributing the motorcycles, Yusuf warned social media influencers and political commentators who will benefit from this scheme against making disrespectful or inflammatory remarks about Rabiu Kwankwaso, the national leader of NNPP. Yusuf urged beneficiaries of the motorcycles to treat the support as a responsibility to promote truth, peace, and positive information about government activities. Well, in a related development, musician Ra 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 was spotted in the studio recording a brand new song dedicated to the governor. Well, now as social media users reacted to developments in the state, a video from the 2023 gubernatorial election has surfaced depicting how Kwankwaso and his supporters held vigil at the INEC headquarters in a bid to protect the NNPP votes after the election. So they can be seen breaking to hold prayers as they watch over the collation process, which would have started later. But you can see this was led by Kwankwaso and his followers at the gubernatorial election. He's there as well, and several other notable individuals. So mixed reactions coming in. Some people are behind Kwankwaso saying, well, look at the huge sacrifice he made. He stayed up all night to protect the vote. And other people are saying, well, if you support Kwankwaso, how can you not support Nyesom Wike? some of the thoughts, Rufai.
Okay. See, the truth is this. Political godfathers should know that they will not last forever. And once you put a political godson in power, once he gets the power, it's all over. Like I said, it's not everybody that will be Ododo. And I said that for a reason. Because it's probably Ododo. I have not heard him have any squabble with his political leader, Yaya Bello. I don't know how they do it, but they do it so well. Secondly, when you go back to Kano, there's a long history of people fighting with their political godfather. Kwankwaso's own political godfather, Abubakar Rimi, had a disagreement with Aminu Kano. While he was governor, they had their disagreement, they had their falling out. I don't see why Kwankwaso should be nervy about it, because this is not the first time it has happened. In fact, this is the second time. That was how he said he was the political godfather of Ganduje. But Ganduje left him, and Ganduje has forged on. Ganduje has also had his own political son in Ganua that tried running. There was the opposing candidate to this governor in the last election. So why is Kwankwaso feeling frenetic about it? It's the game. Once you give your political godson power, there is no how he will want to find his path for himself. And that is what is happening. And this is a message to all political godfathers out there that think that they are all in all. Before you became a political godfather, you were subservient to somebody. So there's no big deal about it. For me, the challenge is just the reason at which they are saying they want to align with the center. And didn't they know all of this before? It's when the fight side, they say, oh, they didn't allow me to appoint commissioner, appoint this and all of that. I think for Kwankwaso, the best is, if he still owns the NNPP, now he should start looking for another political godson that he will throw into the election to fight against this person that is there. At least he looked for somebody, he supported somebody to be able to fight against Ganduje in the 2019 elections, if my memory serves me right. Abi? So let's stop deceiving ourselves. There's nothing too emotional about it. And let me make the final point goodbye. Plus, the political father and the political godson, they don't care about you and I, the Nigerian people. They care about how they can appropriate Nigerian resource for one, their own control, and two, for their own livelihood. And that's why they are so quick to look for the social media influencers that's going to help them abuse on social media and give them motorbikes and all of that. It's not that deep. It's for their own selfish interests.
That's it. Dr. Bati, will he be allowed to wear his red cap? Because Governor Yusuf is still wearing the traditional
Didn't he copy from Aminu Kano? Why will Kwankwaso stop him already wearing cap?
Today, that is going to formally, register as a member of APC, along with the 22 members of the House of Assembly, 8 members of the House of Representatives, 44 local government chairmen in Kano State. Maybe when he formally joins the APC today, he will maybe remove the Kwankwaso camp. However, what Kano politicians say is that there is a difference between the NNPP and also the Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso is a political ideological movement of Kwankwaso. NNPP is the party, and NNPP, we have been told, is troubled. But the main thing here is Kano is a very important state in the election calculus. If you want to be president of Nigeria, you win in Kano, you win in Lagos, you win in Rivers, you get the numbers. So they have 44 local governments, close to about 20 million voters. So what you are witnessing is a battle for the soul of Kano politics, battle for the control of Kano as we approach 2027. Now you are going to have Governor Yusuf together with Ganduje on the same side, with APC at the center trying to grab Kano. Now, how much influence Dr. Kwankwaso has in Kano State will be tested again this time around. And whether or not he himself will end up going to join the APC remains to be seen. But one issue of concern here has to do with the relationship between godfathers and godsons. Godfathers, as we are beginning to see, also die. One godfather was deposed, some kind of regicide, in your state. We've seen an evolving regicide in Rivers State. We've seen it, I think, in Anambra State also, and in some other states across the country. I think it is important for these persons who call themselves godfathers to realize that a time will come when the son will also aspire to become the father. And that's why we have all these tension, conflicts in many states in Nigeria. But the story is that Governor Yusuf doesn't feel free enough. Administrators are appointed for him, councillors are appointed for him, party chieftains are appointed for him. It can be quite suffocating for you to be a governor like Fubara, a governor like Abba Yusuf, and you are not allowed to exercise your own authority. And now we hear that he has been promised automatic ticket in the APC, which he was not sure of in the NMPP with the influence of the godfather. So basically, politicians are looking for power and they want to survive and they also want to grow. So that's an area of concern that we have to continue to look at. I made a point that when eventually he declares, he will become number 31 of the governors, out of 36 governors and FCT. There are only just about 5 persons who are not already in the APC. But how that will affect the 2027 process remains to be seen, because some analysts have also said, well, some of these governors are pretending. They will just join the APC, they will collect money, they will collect second term, but that they may not mean well, and that they cannot dictate to the people. As Anatu Musawa was saying, she was saying that, look, voters in the north are sophisticated and politics runs deep, you know, in that part of the country. So you never know how the game will play out. And Yaga Africa tells us in the National Voter Intention Survey that enthusiasm towards 2027 is highest in the northern part of the country. So all of this we can feed into the equation.
Well, a lot of dynamics unraveling. There's going to be a number of battlefield states this time around, and we'll keep our eyes on it. But speaking of the few governors that remain in opposition, Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has criticized what he perceives as a lack of transparency in the Nigeria Tax Act 2025. Now, this comes as the House of Representatives Minority Caucus Ad Hoc Fact-Finding Committee has confirmed that unauthorized alterations were made to some tax reform laws in the Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025 after they were passed by the National Assembly and assented to by Bola Tinubu. Well, the committee reported that up to 3 different versions of the law are currently in circulation. Only one version aligns with the certified true copies officially issued by the House of Representatives. Well, here's what the governor had to say about the tax bill.
In this dispensation, there was a tax bill. And we said, look, bring the tax bill, bring it back. Let us all have an opportunity to look dispassionately at it. But you cannot speak truth to power in this dispensation. So the tax bill will go ahead. It's an affront for even the governors to be saying what the presidency has done to send the tax bill to the National Assembly. They should bring it back. It won't happen. And we know where we are right now. The tax bill, we don't know what was passed at the National Assembly. We don't also know what was signed.
All right, well, while one governor is saying he's unaware, in another state, the state is moving forward with the tax bill. So still staying on the tax bill, a letter issued by Lagos Internal Revenue Service over the weekend has gone viral. The LIRS says it will begin enforcing its statutory power of substitution under the Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025 to recover outstanding tax liabilities from defaulting taxpayers. Well, what does all this jargon mean? It means that if a taxpayer refuses or fails to pay an agreed tax debt, LIRS can issue a substitution notice. So this will allow LIRS to require banks, employers, customers, or anyone who holds or owes the taxpayer money to pay that amount directly to LIRS. And that payment is treated as settling the taxpayer's tax debt to that extent. So in essence, Ayo, if my landlord is owing 1 million in tax, I, as the tenant, can become liable to paying that 1 million directly to the taxman.
Rent money,
from your rent?
Yes, from my rent money. So here are some reactions online. One tweet says, the power is overreaching. So here is what will happen. If anyone owes you, you can owe taxes and tie it to your debtors not paying as and when due. I trust Nigerians to exploit this loophole. But Rashid says, LOL, we all know what we are doing. You intentionally misquoted Taiwo. Taiwo Oyedele has pretty much been clear. He explained that banks cannot deduct money from your account automatically if money comes in. This was the fear of the public. He also mentioned that banks can only deduct money from your account after tax liabilities have been established and the taxes have become final and conclusive. What does that mean? That is, assessment has been issued, which can be objected, and when there is no consensus, the Tax Appeal Tribunal comes in, then High Court, and finally Supreme Court. If the taxpayer still refuses to pay, then the tax authority can instruct the bank to deduct money from your account, which is what LIRS has stated in their notice. It's all very technical stuff, but the gist of it is that people are worried about the implications of the tax bill and whether we all really understand, especially as some states like Lagos State are moving forward to implement, although Governor Makinde says, as a governor, he doesn't know what's inside. Yeah.
Okay, it's a very big conversation and it's ongoing. And like you rightly said, Vimbai, a number of people do not understand the details or the terms or how it would affect them. So breaking it down to the implications for the ordinary man who is paying taxes. I think this is where the big disconnect is. And kudos to Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, who has tried many times on different platforms to break it down, to explain, even though sometimes his statements are taken out of context or misconstrued. However, this clearly shows that there is a need for further awareness and a breakdown of the implications or the impact of the Joint Tax Act of 2025 in order for people not to misinform others. I recall that this particular question was actually posed to him when he came for the interview. And I think it was the Friday that was engaging him. And he said that the process was so long that it is almost impossible, that it's a means of last resort. And like the other ex-poster had put up, all the different processes that must be followed before you get to that. So whilst LIRS might put out a notice, the point is that it has to follow the due process. What we'll now see is whether or not there was some kind of untruth being told by how long the process will take. In fact, he discarded it, saying that those are not the people that they are looking for, because those who would default are probably the people that are paying taxes that are not the heavy hitters. And so before they would even begin to face that, it would take a long time, almost discounting people's concerns. But as LIRS has now come out, maybe a further clarification is required by people so that people don't feel like because people are now still posting out, in fact, some false posts that, they've deducted my money, it's tax, they've come for my money, and it's not as clear-cut as that. Just put that out there. But and to assuage the fears of certain people that it's not that straightforward, it's not going to happen that people are going to start deducting your money as based on the explanations, except again another explanation comes to explain the explanation that was given by Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. But going back to what Mr. Makinde said, the Governor Makinde said from Oyo State, it's a big concern. And when this thing came out around the discrepancies with what was passed by the Joint House, the National Assembly, and what was gazetted, there were a number of calls from different quarters, the NBA, some governors, that let us address this issue before we begin to implement, because it has far-reaching consequences. It's not just the matter of the tax, which is a big deal. It also puts a shroud of, comma on a number of things that have been passed by this administration, because if it happened with the Joint Tax Act, it means that it might have happened before or it might happen again in the future. And this is why we said, perhaps should there be a pause on those sections of the law that were were controversial until a full investigation has been instituted and we see the outcome, which we've now seen, where they are now saying there were indeed discrepancies. And so I'm expecting a statement from the federal government as to what is the way forward. Should Nigerians be, be under a law that is controversial, that lacks legitimacy or questions its legitimacy based on the process and the fact that there are lots of people who have said that it is not, that there are different things that have happened in the course of passing the law. So a number of questions there, but just to summarize in this, number one, a lot of people still do not know what this means for them. More information is required, more budgets if possible, so that the office is able to raise awareness, the National Orientation Agency able to put messages out there. We can have seminars to really let people know so that people are not afraid. It's a collective responsibility. If we must have a buy-in, we must know what it is that we're getting into.
That's it. That's absolutely it. And of course, clarity, with a number of documents now confirmed to be in circulation, which one is the correct document? Now, well, we're still in Oyo State. As a former First Lady of Oyo State, Dr. Florence Ajimobi has dismissed a viral video circulating on social media where she declares war against the PDP in the governorship election. She's described it as a fabricated deep fake aimed at misleading the public about her position on the 2027 governorship election. In a statement issued by her office on Saturday, Dr. Ajimobi said the video, which allegedly shows her making controversial remarks about the current PDP-led administration in the state, was never recorded by her. Well, here is the video.
We're going to war in 2027. That's what I tell you. It's going to be war. Head-on war. PDP must go. Whatever they want to do, whatever they want to try, whatever tricks, all powers belong to God. But we're going to beg God. And we're going to fight them. Whatever they have in the state, we have at the federal level. We have money. They have money in the state. We have money in the federal level. We have all the support we need. We're not going to be intimidated. So let them get ready for us. We are ready for them.
All right, well, according to the statement issued by the former First Lady, digital forensic experts reviewed the footage and they confirmed that it was generated using artificial intelligence, which manipulated lip movements and cloned voice patterns intended to imitate the former First Lady. However, an independent analysis of the full video shows that it is authentic and was recorded in June of 2025 during the 5th memorial prayer of her late husband, former Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi, and that was held in Oyo State. Rufai, you're giggling.
See, AI has turned the devil. Everybody now lies on AI. Is AI, is AI, is AI. My dear Auntie Flori, the truth is, she said it, and I don't think it's good to lie on AI. Own up once they said it. I think the speech, the statement written, could have given a context around it and say, I didn't mean it that way. But to now lie openly on AI, and it is the same AI that they used to debunk your lie because they have evidence. You see, it's sad. And I feel what she said at that point in time, she had gone through a lot after her husband died. And it had not been a chummy relationship with the Seyi Makinde-led state government. I don't want to go into details of that. And probably at the 5th anniversary, she felt very hurt, and she said a lot of things. People say things when they are hurt. But please, with due respect, we should remind politicians that it's about them in the end. Heavens will not fall because things do not go your way. And 2027 is not war. It's about you and your political kith and kin. Today, she's been given a position. At least she's ambassador in waiting. Ambassador designates. Even if Dr. Bad says the agreement process takes very long and, But she's been compensated. President Tinubu has looked at her. The Seyi Makinde that she was probably a lockerheads then with, it is facing his own today. Seyi Makinde that hardly talk has been speaking. If you ask her, she will not say what she said last year because she's probably in a better place. But for them, it's about their own political hegemony. Some will even extend it that, why is she saying this? But her husband was one of the first persons to win a 2-term in Oyo State. In fact, there used to be a talk then, political talk then, see on your leg, Meji. So prior to her husband, prior to Ajimobi, nobody had won 2 terms. So they had the good perks of office. So because they are no longer there, she had no right to say because things are not going in your favor, it's going to be war. But please, people should stop lying on AI. That's one. And politicians should temper things down.
Okay, quick. First on taxation. Look, there's a lot of ignorance working on stilts out there with regard to the new tax laws, expressed by people who have not even made any effort to read any of the documents, who just rely on hearsay. Even in the House of Representatives, there is confusion between the Minority Caucus report and what the committee that was set up. The Senate has tried as much as possible to stay away from the controversy. But a law is made for man, not the other way around. And the true test of any law is in its implementation. It seems to me that as we begin the implementation of these, 4 tax laws, there will be a lot that will be revealed. And the people of Nigeria have the right to question some of those provisions and to insist that law, any piece of legislation, being a living document, can always be revised. Now, take the issue of substitution. The Lagos State Internal Revenue Service is quoting Section 60 of the Tax Administration Act, the NTAA. And they say, okay, if you are served the notice and you have to pay under substitution, if you don't, if you disagree, there will be penalties for you. If you check that law, there must be a provision there that you can also insist on your right as an individual. If your landlord is owing money, then they say they are substituting, you should come and pay rent to them. You can go to court and say it doesn't concern me. So it's not as if, those who will be served substitution notices are helpless or that they are victims. But as I said, the true test of the law is in its implementation. And as they begin to implement, people will just have the right to insist on their rights too. That's the balance. Very quickly, as for Mrs. Ajimobi, well, I mean, the statement was issued that this was deepfake, but the statement just said from one of the spokespersons. Now, spokespersons who issue statements should be courageous enough to put their names to it. Because it looks like in this particular sense, the man who issued that statement was not bold enough to put his name there. So you can't have, spokespersons who act like ghosts because they themselves don't believe what they are saying. And then if you look at that video, there are persons there. There is a lady there wearing the same headgear with Mrs. Ajimobi. There are 2 men, one to the left, one to the right. They are human beings. I don't think that, they too are victims of deepfake. So it's a matter of honor for all these people who serenade their public figures to also have the courage to speak. But I imagine that a woman who has been appointed ambassador designate cannot come and be talking about war and be speaking in Jagun terms or Jagun or for your state terms. So that's why I think it is good that she has retracted, whether the excuse is logical or not. But at least...
No, she didn't retract. She just said they lied on AI.
She said they lied on her. Yeah, okay.
That's not retraction.
She said it's fake.
She didn't own up to it. She didn't retract. She just walked up promo AI.
Okay, whatever. The fake news and all of that. But at least she has said she did not say so.
Okay.
And because it would have been scandalous for an ambassador designate to be saying there will be war, and that it will be serious war.
Well, Dr. Abbas, you never know. In Donald Trump's world, it might be acceptable in diplomacy.
No, but she's not Donald Trump. She's an ambassador designate. We don't want a warrior ambassador. We want an ambassador who believes in peace.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
That guy,
which one?
Flavor.
Okay, Odumeji, yes.
But let me just say something very quickly.
Very, very
human
quickly,
perspective,
please, yes.
That this was a very emotive day. And I'm glad that you gave the background of what the platform on which she might have made this statement. I do agree that I think that statement was in poor taste, and whoever wrote it should actually retract that statement, and if anything, like Rufai had mentioned, give a context as to why that statement was made. Just to give her that space of humanity, like you mentioned, she'd been through a lot, and this was the anniversary. I think it was the birthday, the birthday lecture of her late husband. And when you're in an emotive state, you might say things that you might not recollect. So I'm standing up as a woman to just say that sometimes let us allow some of these people. It was emotive, and on that grounds, I'll say let's just allow her.
There's something called maturity, whatever the circumstances. Maturity is not something you can explain away. Somebody who is immature, you can't say, oh, it's because she was emotional. No. I think maturity is important.
Maturity is important, but I think precedent is also important because if we forgive her, it means that if other people are to make potentially inflammatory statements, we have to forgive them as well. So that's the conversation.
That's just it.
Let's go to...
If we say we should forgive them, that means we should forgive them.
No, I said understand. I didn't say...
Let's go to the next story. Okay.
We understand the condition. Sure, an apology is due. We don't wish it away.
We continue with one more trending before we take... one more story before we take our milestones, where 3 suspected vandals have been arrested for stealing cat eye lights on the 3rd Mainland Bridge in Lagos State. The arrest follows the recent inauguration of a surveillance center and closed-circuit television for the bridge. According to reports, the suspects were caught in real time while prying open 156 cat eye reflective lights installed to improve visibility and enhance the bridge's aesthetics. Now, the incident was detected by the monitoring team overseeing the federal government's upgraded CCTV network on the corridor. Minister of Works Dave Umahi made the disclosure on Saturday during the parade of the suspects, urging Nigerians to take collective ownership of public infrastructure and actively protect assets within their communities. Hi.
Can you give us account of what happened? Yeah, actually, we were able to make this arrest, or it was easier for us because the activity of these vandals were monitored real time through the camera. And so the control room alerted the DPO in charge of that area, who quickly and swiftly mobilized his men, and they were arrested during the act as they were committing it. So the cameras really aided us in the operation.
All right, well, you can imagine the reactions to this. Very quickly, we go to X, where J-Tweet says, this is an own goal, though. How do you have a control center and 2 people were able to remove 156 road stud lights before they were caught? You must have the slowest response time one can imagine. Well, Rex Nova also on X said, good move by the government. This shows technology can really help improve security and catch criminals faster. Hopefully, it will reduce vandalism and make the bridge safer for everyone. I wish we could have gotten into this because the commentary was quite insightful, if I may say that. Now, let's quickly take our milestones. As Shell says that it is considering a $20 billion investment in Nigeria, citing President Bola Tinubu's leadership and vision as key factors. Shell Global Chief Executive Officer Wael Sawan disclosed during a meeting with President Tinubu at the presidential villa, and he says that the oil company, Shell, is deepening its investments in the country alongside its partners. He explained that the proposed investment is largely linked to the Bonga Southwest Deep Offshore Oil Project, which could become one of the world's largest energy developments when a final investment decision is reached. Sawan added the recent investments such as Bonga North and gas projects connected to NLNG reflect Shell's long-term commitment to Nigeria. President Tinubu approved the investment-linked incentives to support the project and directed that they be gazetted in line with existing legal and fiscal frameworks. So, of course, we know that a target of $20 billion of investment, especially into our oil and gas sector, would be such a fantastic development for the economy. And we know that Bonga has already been one of the wins for this administration, especially as far as oil and gas is concerned. Yeah, that is good news for us to celebrate. Very brief comments. I'll come to you, Dr. Abati.
There's no time again.
Okay, there's no time?
No, well, I mean, you know, Shell at the time was divesting and sold part of its investment in the inland waterways, bought by, I think, one group that is associated with Renaissance JV. But now, you know, they made the point at that time of divestment that they were not leaving Nigeria, and they are still committed to investment in Nigeria. And now this news coming saying that, you know, they are going to invest more in deep offshore, you know, versatile oil fields offshore, which, you know, the multinationals, joint partners, find much safer territory to operate because of the problem, you know, within the inland waterway. So it's good news.
Yes, it's a step in the right direction.
Signal for
yes.
potential investors.
Absolutely.
Nigeria is a great place to invest.
Yeah.
And so this is a great signal to
I
invest.
hope it was that simplistic.
Nigeria's open for business, whichever way, and we hope this is
And
concluded. This has been a fantastic
You wanted
edition.
me to say something about
We
it?
have like 10 seconds, but
I'm happy about it, but let us get FID first before I jubilate.
okay, we will finalize on that. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you very much indeed.